Okay, it was just details. Good morning. I was there. Hi, Chicky.
Hi, Piggy. Hi. What? Is that what you Chicky?
I don't know. Thanks for coming out.
For adults too, right?
Sure, come, Robin. Hey, Jim. Hey!
It's in the car. Just grab one of the programs. Let's start this Memorial Day service 2022. Thank you. And we want to start out first with, as we always do, with an invocation. And in this year's invocation is going to be provided by Matt Hahn, who is a United States Marine Corps veteran and deacon at St. James Church here in Arlington Heights. Deacon Matt.
You take a moment to focus your spirits, your minds, and your souls. In the quiet sanctuaries of our own hearts, let each of us name and call on the one whose power over us is great and gentle, firm and forgiving, holy and healing. You who created us, who sustain us, who call us to live in peace, hear our prayer today. Hear our prayer for all who have died, whose hearts and hopes are known to you alone. Hear our prayer for those who put the welfare of others ahead of their own. Give us hearts as generous as theirs. Hear our prayer for those who gave their lives in the service of others, and accept the gift of their sacrifice. Help us to shape and make a world where we will lay down the arms of war and turn our swords into plowshares for a harvest of justice and peace. Comfort those who grieve the loss of their loved ones, and let your healing be the hope in our hearts. Hear our prayer today, and in your mercy, answer us in the name of all that is holy. Amen.
Thank you, Deacon Matt. Now, for the national anthem, the Arlington's Barbershop Chorus will sing that, and if you can, please stand and face the flag, hand over your heart for veteran salute.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets flared in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Now we're going to sing a tribute to the armed forces, and we're going to mention the branch of each military branch before we sing it. If you were in that branch or have a loved one that was or is in that branch, please wave your hand or raise your cap and let yourself be acknowledged.
From the rising of the sun till the battle's fought and won, we will fight for the right and defend our country.
Coast Guard.
We're always ready for the call. We pledge our trust in thee. Through surf and storm and howling gale, high shall our purpose be. Semper Paratus is our guide, our pledge, our motto too. We're always ready, do or die. High Coast Guard, we fight for you. Marines. The falls of Montezuma, to the shores of Tripoli, bum, bum, we fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marine. Da-da-da-da. Navy. Anchors aweigh, my boys, anchors aweigh. Farewell to college joys, we sail at break of day. Through our last night on shore, drink to the foam. Until we meet once more, here's wishing you a happy voyage home. Army! And the army goes rolling along, rolls along, out of and the army goes rolling along. Then it's hi, hi, hey, the army's on its way. Count off their cadence loud and strong. For where'er we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along. Air Force. Off we go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sun. Here they come, coming to meet our thunder. And boys, give her the gun, give her the gun. Down they dive, spouting our flame from under. Off with one hell of a roar. We live in fame, we're down in flame. Ain't nothing will stop the U.S. Air Force. And those are the great armed forces of America. They serve America at home or overseas. They serve America.
Our deepest thanks to the Arlington's Barbershop Chorus for the National Anthem and the Service Song Medley. Thank you very much. Here at Memorial Park, you're in the oldest park in Arlington Heights. It was donated by John Best, who lived across the street there in 1883 as a place where we would honor and remember our war dead and our war heroes. And since that time, the town has revitalized, rebuilt it several times. The latest addition here is what you see with the Eternal Flame sculpture, the 15-foot bronze flame at the middle of our park. And at the foot of that flame are commemorative bricks for any veteran from anywhere, from any time. We have almost 800 bricks in the park, all the way back to the Revolutionary War. But the point is that any one of those bricks is a story about a veteran and their service. But when you take all of them together, including the strings that represent families, whole families, you'll see the history of the United States of America and the service and the sacrifice that generation after generation has given our nation so that we can enjoy our freedoms today. So please, after the ceremony, have a chance to take a chance to go up there and read some of those bricks, especially the ones immediately on the entranceway. That's the Fallen Hero section, which has bricks for any fallen hero from anywhere, from any time. There are almost 200 there, including what we're going to read today is the 19 fallen heroes from the Battle of Mogadishu. So this park is something special here in Arlington Heights, and it's worth everybody taking a few minutes to look at those bricks and understand what we're saying here today. Also, We want to thank everybody. If you have your program, we want you to take a look at it on page 3 near the bottom. There's all kinds of organizations and people who have donated or supported this Memorial Day parade and ceremony, and we want to thank all of them profoundly, because without their support, this would not be possible. Also, we're honored and we're thankful for all the military that are with us here today. Obviously, the United States Navy Recruit Training Center, our hometown unit, the 85th U.S. Army Reserve Support Command, represented by Brigadier General Corner here. They're right across the hospital, across the street from the hospital in the Reserve Center there. They're the headquarters for all kinds of Army Reserve units throughout the nation. We're also very honored to have members of our veterans, leaders and members of our veterans units, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, the American Legion, the Marine Corps League, the Vietnam Veterans of America, the AMVETS, the Navy League, and Salute, Inc. They're all part of our town's beautiful tapestry of supporting our veterans and the history of our town, as well as honoring our fallen heroes. We do have elected officials and executives from the state of Illinois, Cook County, the village of Arlington Heights, the Arlington Heights Park District, the Memorial Library, Wheeling Township, both of our school districts, District 25, 214, Christian Liberty Academy, and we do have quite a number of our clergy and our members of our faith community. And yet, the real dignitaries, the people we want to really welcome and thank today are the families, the Gold Star families, the families of our fallen heroes. And we're so very honored today to have among us the families of and friends of Richard Adam, United States Army Air Corps, killed in action November 27, 1943. The family and friends of Harry Craig, United States Marine Corps, killed in action May 18, 1968. The family and friends of Donald Klarber, killed in action November 6, 1969. And the family of William Dabbert, U.S. Army, killed in action June 28, 1969. He grew up just a few doors down from this park. Then we have the family and friends of Paul Syverson III, killed in action in Iraq, or in the Gulf Wars, June 16, 2004. The family and friends of William Newgard, killed in action December 29, 2006. And the family and friends of James Stack, killed in action November 10, 2010. And I'm sure there are other Gold Star families here that didn't announce their presence, but these and all the families that could not be here, we want them to know that this is a very special day where we honor and remember their fallen heroes. And in fact, some of you, I hope many of you, received this sign that says Arlington Remembers. And on the back side of this sign, there is the list of the 58 fallen heroes from our town from the Civil War through Afghanistan. These are the young men who grew up here, who were born here, grew up here, went off to the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, and died for us. And because this is a special day, Memorial Day, where we honor and remember those, I want the promise of our community to go out not only to the Gold Star families that are here, but to all Gold Star families that are not able to be here, that as long as one veteran lives in Arlington Heights, as one patriot resides in our town, their fallen heroes will always be remembered, and never will they be forgotten. And this is our community's promise to our Gold Star families. Hold that up and let them know this is what we mean in Arlington Heights. Now, as we do each Memorial Day, we have a welcome from our commander of our VFW Post 981, Commander Voss.
Thank you all for being here on this very important yet somber occasion. Memorial Day was born Decoration Day in Waterloo, New York, when a local drugstore owner suggested that all businesses close to honor those that had died during the Civil War. People placed homemade wreaths and crosses on the fallen soldiers' headstones. Flags waved proudly at half-staff, and on May 6, 1866, an American tradition was born. Here we are, 156 years later, on this proud day of remembrance, and I ask that you join me today, not only in remembering those who have made the ultimate sacrifice for the good of our great nation, but also to reflect on their legacy. There has never been another nation whose sacrifices have been greater than ours. Nowhere in history has there been a country that has paid a higher price for the freedom of others. General George Patton once said, "In my mind, we came here to thank God that men like these lived, rather than to regret that they died." I ask that you embrace these words in their entirety. The lives of our fallen soldiers were not lost in vain, nor anguish, for each life lost has contributed to the evolution of America as we know it today, a free and strong nation, a nation that stands tallest when we stand together. So today we are reminded that the true cost of freedom. While we as a nation mourn the lives lost, we celebrate the lives and are forever grateful. Above all, in an attempt to pay back our debt as Americans, we must not only remember the fallen, but it's our responsibility to teach our youth that nothing comes without a cost, and that sacrifices are meaningless without remembrance. Freedom is not free. The courage possessed by the men and women we honor today cannot be learned. It is something that is felt deep within. The willingness to die for our country is what truly makes America home of the brave. This is the land of the free, ensured by generations who believe that America is worth fighting for, and in some cases, worth dying for. Today, more than any other day, we set aside our politics. We unite in tribute and respect those who afforded us the opportunity to gather here today. And I would be remiss not to mention the families that were left behind. Their sacrifices are also felt. They also have earned our gratitude and our appreciation. Let us all recommit ourselves to keeping the memory of our fallen alive. Let's ensure our youth understand that their freedom was paid for at great expense. Let's work together to educate the others the true meaning of Memorial Day. On this sacred day, as we stand united looking at the flags flying, we see the faces of our fallen soldiers, airmen, sailors, and Marines embedded in each and every one. And we thank them all for our nation's past and for the hope and memories that will propel us into the future. God bless all of our departed heroes, their families, and God bless America.
Thank you, Commander Voss. Our next speaker is the mayor of Arlington Heights, Tom Hayes. He himself is a veteran, a graduate of West Point, and he's been our mayor for going on 9 years. Mayor Hayes.
Well, thanks, Greg. Distinguished guests, especially our Gold Star families, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, on behalf of the entire Village Board and the citizens that we represent, it is my honor to officially welcome you to the 103rd Arlington Heights Memorial Day Remembrance Ceremony here this morning. It's wonderful to be able to gather together again in person on this warm but beautiful day following 2 years of meeting virtually during the COVID-19 pandemic. Whether we meet in person or virtually, the hallowed purpose for which we gather remains the same: to honor and remember the men and women of our armed forces who not only answered the call to duty, but paid the ultimate price to preserve the freedoms we enjoy, many of which we took for granted before the coronavirus crisis, and which we so dearly missed during the height of the pandemic. Speaking of those freedoms, President Franklin D. Roosevelt said that those who have enjoyed such privileges as we enjoy forget in time that men have died to win them. We gather today to ensure that we never forget. During the Civil War, the job of the color bearer was one of the most hazardous, as well as one of the most important duties in the Army. Soldiers looked to the flag for direction and inspiration in battle, as the color bearer was usually out in front, drawing heavy enemy fire while holding the flag high. In the 150 years since Memorial Day was first observed to honor those who fell in the Civil War, Arlington Heights residents have been among the 1.5 million Americans who have fought and died with heroism, honor, and distinction. Today, we not only honor and remember, but thank God for our nation's fallen heroes, those color bearers who carried the American flag into battle. The names of the 140 men and women who carried the flag on behalf of our community and our country who have passed away in the last year are in the program. And we will soon be hearing the names of the 58 Arlington Heights fallen heroes who died in battle. As on the front lines at Gettysburg, others must now pick up the flag and lead the charge. I am certain that the next great generation of heroes, including some of the boys and girls with us here this morning, are up to the task. I want to close by thanking you for joining us today to help honor and remember those noble soldiers who answered the call to duty and sacrificed all so that we might live free. Those who, as it says in Isaiah 6:8, heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send and who will go for us?" And they answered, "Here I am, send me." Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Mayor Hayes. And the mayor referenced that in your program, on page 3, the top of page 3, are the lists of the veterans who came back. And by the way, these are not fallen heroes. These are men and women who served our country, came home, had a life, had a family, had friends, had a career. But they served our nation, and they passed away in the last 12 months, and we honor them. And we also offer our condolences to their family and friends by listing their names here each year in the program. Now, our guest speaker today, our special guest speaker, is actually the commanding general of our hometown unit, the 85th U.S. Army Reserve Support Command. It's headquartered immediately across the street from the Northwest Community Hospital. Joining us today, the incoming commander, is Brigadier General Richard Corner II. He is the commanding general of the 85th Support Command, as we call it, and he's taking over in July, I believe, July 3rd. And he has a variety of assignments before he came here, including the Brigade S4 of the 75th Exploitation Task Force, the Reserve Affairs Officer for the U.S. Army Special Operations Command, Airborne, the Deputy G1 for the Office of the Chief of Army Reserve, and the Army Reserve G1 for the U.S. Army Reserve Command. His top awards include the Legion of Merit, the Bronze Star Medal, 6 Meritorious Service Medals, and he's a native of Quincy, Massachusetts. And as I said before, he is our new hometown reserve commander. Please welcome Brigadier General Richard Corner.
Thank you. Good morning, Mayor Hayes, veterans, Gold Star families, distinguished visitors, our Arlington Heights community, and for all those other community members that arrived today. I would like to also extend a personal thank you to the Veterans Memorial Committee of Arlington Heights for inviting me to this Memorial Day, commemorating your 103rd annual tribute to our fallen heroes. I took command of the Army Reserve's 85th Support Command a few months ago, so this is my first time here with you, but I understand our command has a long and strong unified relationship with this great community. And I want to say thank you to all of you in this community on how much you embrace our service members and our veterans. As a new commander for your local Army Reserve unit, I had an amazing opportunity this weekend to also take part in a Memorial Day commemoration yesterday in the village of Norridge. It was very special to visit Norridge for quite an impactful and intimate observance that took place in a residential area along the doorsteps of their homes. Arlington Heights is somewhat a different experience, but also similar, being nestled in with its neighborhood among its citizens. Memorial Day is a day of national awareness in solemn reverence. A day for us to honor the military men and women who gave their lives in defense of our nation, its values, and our freedom. Memorial Day gives us an opportunity to stop and think about brave Americans who made the ultimate sacrifice in defense of our great nation. Memorial Day was first observed after the Civil War and called Decoration Day, because families typically remembered their loved ones by decorating grave sites with flowers or flags. In proclaiming that the first Decoration Day in 1868, General John Logan, National Commander of the Grand Army of the Republic, wrote that we should not only remember those, and I quote, who died in defense of their country, but also, quote, renew our pledges to aid and assist those whom they left among us, the widows and orphans. Today we continue to honor those left behind, those who paid a very personal price for us and our nation, our Gold Star families. Could all the Gold Star family members in the audience please stand if able? Allow me to express my appreciation to you on behalf of all those present today. We are humbled by your sacrifice, inspired by your resilience, and grateful for your continued service to our communities. Thank you. Ever since the 8 members of the Lexington Militia lost their lives in the first battle of the American Revolution, nearly 1.2 million service members, soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen made the ultimate sacrifice. We are reminded that the world remains a very dangerous place and that our soldiers are in harm's way across the globe. In the Army, we consider our greatest asset to be our people. Our all-volunteer Army is a credit to Americans of all races, genders, creeds, and our common commitment to the defense and love of this country binds us together. That goes to the heart of what it means to be an American. As an Army Reserve Commander, I would like to share with you about the inception of my organization dating back to 1908 as a tiny corps of medical professionals held in readiness for duty. More than 160,000 members of the organized reserves were mobilized to service in World War I, and by World War II, more than 200,000 had joined the fight, serving on every front. Countless Army Reserve soldiers have died in service to our country. Our organization, the 85th Support Command, carries a lineage dating back to World War I, where they were mobilized for service, and were again mobilized for World War II, where they proudly served. We have a large frame plaque in our headquarters honoring our 4 Medal of Honor recipients, 2 posthumously awarded during World War II. And our soldiers continue to be mobilized for service throughout our country and across the globe. So, be very proud of the lineage from your local Army Reserve unit just down the road from here. The service members and heroes that we celebrate today gave their lives not as part of a war of conquest or aggression, but in bringing the hope to a better life to those they sought to help. We must celebrate their courage, honor, and integrity this day. This Memorial Day, I hope that we can remember the link we have with all the generations that have gone before us who selflessly served our country and paid the ultimate sacrifice. Never forget those who served and sacrificed for America. And today, we do that once again. Thank you for remembering our fellow soldiers in their selfless service. May God bless our soldiers, service members, veterans, and their families. And may God continue to bless our nation with the freedoms that we share. Thank you, Arlington Heights, for the generosity and kindness that you provide to my soldiers and our service personnel based throughout the area. I am really honored to be a part of your welcoming community. Thank you.
Thank you, General. Now, at this point, we were going to have a Silver Star pinning ceremony for a local veteran who was a U.S. Army Ranger in the Battle of Mogadishu. And in fact, we have an insert inside today's program that has his story during the Battle of Mogadishu. His name is Steve Nash. He was a staff sergeant during that battle. Unfortunately, last night there was a family emergency out of state, serious one, that he had to leave immediately, and he expresses his deep regrets for not being here, but he asked us to carry on with this ceremony so that, in his words, we honor and remember the 19 soldiers that were killed in that battle, because that's why he wanted to be here today. And if you will look in your, look at the insert here, you can see that Steve Nash was in the United States Army. In fact, I'll give you, let me start with what is the Silver Star Medal. A lot of people don't know what that is. The Army Silver Star Medal is the third highest Army award for valor in combat. The only two higher are the Navy Cross and the Medal of Honor. So this is a very high award that he's received. It's actually an upgrade from the Bronze Star Medal that he received for his valor during the combat in that battle. But about Steve himself, he was born here in Chicago, but he was raised in the Upper Peninsula, Michigan. He's a member, though, of our two veterans units here, VFW Post 981 and American Legion Post 208. He served in the United States Army from 1984 to 1994, and he trained at Fort Benning, Georgia for his basic, his advanced, his airborne training, and his ranger training. As an Army Ranger, he was a member of the 75th Army Ranger Regiment. This is a very famous regiment in that that was the group or the organization or the unit that was the first to parachute into Normandy on D-Day. And they, at the time, they shaved their heads to look like Mohawks, and they painted their faces to look like very important warriors, and they still do that today when they go into battle. During the battle of, during Operation Gothic Serpent, the United States sent military units into Somalia to help quell the Somalian civil war there. And during that time, in October 3rd to October 4th, 1993, was the Battle of Mogadishu that you will hear about and you could see portrayed in that movie, Black Hawk Down. And at the time, it was the most intense battle that the Army had fought since the Vietnam War. It was 1993, and that had been a long time. Steve was one of 160 Army personnel who volunteered to go in and rescue the Black Hawk helicopter pilots that had been downed in the city of Mogadishu. And he was one of 82 out of the 160 that were injured or killed. He was injured. He was shot 13 times during the 18-hour battle, 10 in his body armor, which caused broken bones, every one of them. It stops the bullet, but it breaks the bones underneath. And he was shot 3 times in his body, yet he continued, as in the tradition of Army Rangers, he continued to fight the entire time. And in fact, he was one of the Army Rangers that ran, they call it the Mogadishu Mile, because when the rescue team came in with the armored personnel carriers and trucks, they loaded up everybody they could and all the badly wounded people, but there was no room for Steve. And Steve and a handful of Army Rangers had to run 1 mile after being shot 13 times, run 1 mile to safety. And they now call that the Mogadishu Mile. 19 of Steve's friends and comrades were killed in that battle. And Steve would receive at this point the Silver Star for valor in combat, but he says he wants the names of the 19 colleagues, comrades, and friends that he had. He wants those 19 names read. And as part of that, Arlington Heights has placed a commemorative brick in the Fallen Heroes section for every one of these 19 fallen heroes. You can see them after the ceremony today. But as I read the names, as we normally do with fallen heroes, we toll a bell. And this year, as in the past, the bell is being tolled by Gold Star father, Bob Stack, who is the father of James Stack, who was killed in action in 2010. So I read the names beginning with Gary Gordon, Gary was an Army Delta Ranger, a Delta Force operator, and he received the Medal of Honor posthumously. Then there is Randy Shugart. He also received the Medal of Honor posthumously. Then there was Daniel Bush, Earl Fillmore, Matt Ryerson, Timothy Martin, Jamie Smith, James Cavaco, James Joyce, Richard Kowaleski, Dominic Pilla, Lorenzo Ruiz, William Cleveland, Thomas Field, Raymond Frank, Clifton Wolcott, Donovan Briley, Cornell Houston, and James Martin Jr. These are the 19 brave souls that went in on the rescue mission in the Battle of Mogadishu and gave the ultimate sacrifice for our nation. Please take a moment after the ceremony to view their bricks at the foot of the eternal flame, as well as all the other fallen hero bricks that are there today. Now, we have something that's not in your program, but turned out to be something really special. We have a Gold Star wife here in Arlington Heights who has been very noted for asking not only our community, but the entire nation to remember that Memorial Day is a very special day, a different kind of day that people should remember is reserved for the fallen heroes. I took her speech. She first gave this speech at the Remembering Our Fallen Memorial, which was here in Arlington Heights 2 weeks ago at North School Park, and it had the pictures of the 5,300 young men and women who were killed in action from all over the nation. She read this speech at the opening ceremony, and people were moved. I was moved enough to send it out to my email list of all the veterans I have, all 6,500, and people were so very moved. This very same speech is in today's Daily Herald on the opinions page near the back of the paper. It's worth reading, and today I've asked Katie to deliver this speech again because I believe these words are very much worth hearing, especially on Memorial Day. Katie?
12 years ago this November, I learned what a Gold Star family member was. Truth is, I never knew the pain and the suffering behind what these families went through. Until I myself was holded a folded flag that draped over my husband's casket. November 10th, 2010, I became the widow of U.S. Marine Corps Lance Corporal James Stack. On that day, Lance Corporal James Stack gave the ultimate sacrifice in Sangin, Afghanistan. He left behind me and my daughter Michaela, who was 1 at the time. At every Gold Stars family's house, there is an empty seat at a dinner table. There is a laugh and a love that is missing. There is a hole that will never be filled. These men and women, our nation's fallen heroes, have given that ultimate sacrifice. I want you to think of a wife or a husband going to bed while staring at an empty pillow. A child growing up and all they know or remember about their mom or dad are through photos and memories. A mother and father never being able to see the incredible child that they raised and the future their child was building for themselves. I want you to think of a brother or a sister who lost their childhood best friend, all because of our nation's heroes. We as a nation have the ability to breathe this fresh air, hug our loved ones, fly the American flag on our porch as a proud American because of these brave men and women. On this Memorial Day, my one request is this. When you view the names and the faces of these fallen men, women, and men at Memorial Park located in Arlington Heights, I challenge you to approach with a heart of recognition and gratitude and say thank you. Remember why you get to live in this great and free nation and the great price of that freedom. When gathering with your friends and family to enjoy your picnic or barbecue, take the time to teach your children and others about the true meaning behind this day, and to remember our fallen heroes and their families, and to never forget that freedom is not free.
Thank you, Katie, and I hope all of us who heard these words today, or read them in the paper, or read them on the internet, wherever they are, I hope all of us will take those words to heart and remember what she said and remember the price that she talked about for our freedoms. And as I read, as you think about those 19 fallen heroes from the Battle of Mogadishu, and as we now read the names of the 58 young men from our town who gave their lives for our nation, keep those words in mind. We move on to the solemn part of our ceremony where we do read and honor and remember the 58 young men from our town who died in the service of our nation. There were 2 from the Civil War, Jacob Sigwald and Walter Kennicott. 1 from the Spanish-American War, George Bray. 2 from World War I, Theodore Heemsmuth and David H. Hodges. There were 37 young men from the town of Arlington Heights who were killed in action during World War II. Now, put it into perspective, Arlington Heights was just 4,000 people during World War II, and we lost 37 young men. If we kept that same proportion to the 76,000 people that live in this town today, we'd have almost 800 young men and women killed. So keep in mind how much World War II touched this little town of Arlington Heights during World War II. There were 37. They start with Richard J. Adam, E.J. Anderson Jr., Morris Bow, Norman Beasy, and one family lost 2 sons 4 months apart, one in the European theater and one in the Pacific, 4 months apart. Albert Behrens and Wilbert Behrens. Lester Bennett, Franklin Bublitz, August Bunsick, Adolph Bussey Jr., Edward Deary, John Deach, Harry Fryermuth, Robert Garner, Wilbert Gieske, David Goodlett, George Grossi, John Hatch, Warren Henkin, James Kellogg, Howard Crerar, Richard Lucina, Theodore Meyer, Douglas Milligan, John Nickel, Arthur Niebuhr, Raymond Peters, Paul Pingle, Eugene Potter, C.W. Semilovich, Lyle Shane, Anthony Scalero, James Scott, Morris Sheehan, Joseph Shoyan, Walter Umbrecht, and Paul Wood Jr. From the Korean War, 2 young men gave their lives for our nation. They are Frank Blumenschein and John Martin Jr. During the Vietnam War, 9 of our young men went off to war and gave the ultimate sacrifice. They are Robert Bardock, Donald Klarber, Robert Conti, Harry Craig, William Dabbert, Sammy Hartzell, Scott Jacobson, Daniel Shuren, and Douglas Vaughn. Now, as our tradition, we will ask Katie Stack to read the next 4 names, and then her daughter, Michaela, who was 1 when her father died, Michaela Stack, will read the name of her father. Okay.
Operation Desert Shield, Bradley R. Schultz. Operation Iraqi Freedom, Paul R. Syverson. Andrew K. Stern. William R. Newgard. Operation Enduring Freedom, James Bryce Stack.
These are the names of the 58 young men from our town who have given their lives for our nation, for our freedoms. There are many, many more throughout the nation, and we ask everybody on Memorial Day to honor and remember these young men and women, because this nation is free because of them. We're closing our ceremony, as we always do, with 3 things. Number 1, we'll have a rifle salute by the combined rifle squad of American Legion Post 208 and VFW Post 981. We'll have taps played by Edward Jacoby, and then we'll have a closing prayer by Deacon Hahn. Afterwards, we're asking all the veterans, all the active duty troops to gather at the Eternal Flame for our annual picture of remembering our veterans in active duty. So at this time, Rifle Squad, at your ready. Bugler, at your ready.
Forward, arm. Right, face. Ready? Aim. Fire. Aim. Fire. Aim. Fire. Ready? Front. Color guard.
Now we'll have a closing prayer from Deacon Hahn.
When we are weary and in need of strength, when we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have a joy we crave to share, when we have decisions that are difficult to make, when we have achievements that are based on theirs, we remember them. At the blowing of the wind and the chill of the winter, at the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember them. At the blueness of the skies and the warmth of the summer, at the rustling of the leaves and the beauty of the autumn, we remember them. At the rising of the sun and at its setting, we remember them. As long as we live, they too will live, for they are now part of us. And as we go forth this morning, we remember them in peace. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Deacon Hahn. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. Please, for all the veterans, all the active duty folks, could you please gather at the foot in the circle around the eternal flame for a very special picture. And thank you all for coming, and please remember to honor and remember our nation's fallen heroes. Thank you.